Hello, Prof. I hope you are having a good weekend. Um, as for me, I'm wearing Red Riding Hood um, costume for my event today. Anyways, this is my reflection and reaction to the readings and viewings for this week. Um, In my current work, the knowledge about foundation skills, which are phonics, phonemic awareness, and letter knowledge, support my understanding of the importance of acquiring skills as early as early childhood to develop that reading fluency. I understood that reading fluency is made of at least three key elements: accuracy, rate, and prosody. It's funny because more than thinking about how it is carried out in the classroom, when I started reading, it actually made me assess myself how accurately my brain interprets the concept, how fast I can assess meaning, especially for those unfamiliar words, and how well I pause and use marks in reading. Sometimes I tend to forget these rules, and I don't know why I felt it. I don't know why it felt that way. Maybe because the only thing I could think is, that thought about, am I doing it well? Am I following the standard um, English rules when it comes to um, high level of understanding, like professional reading wise? So yeah, it was interesting for me to just kind of assess myself too with this concept that I'm reading that we are having for this week. According to Honig, Diamond, and Gotlon 2013, poor prosody can lead to confusion through inappropriate application of expression that without accurate word reading, the reader will not have the same access to the author's intended meaning, and this can lead to misinterpretation of the text and also slow, laborious reading of the text taxes readers' capacity to construct ongoing interpretation of the passage. Um, I personally can relate this when I started at UMKC with a lot of readings. I tend to like doubt myself if am I interpreting correctly what the author is telling. So um, at the beginning, it takes me a lot of reading time to do the task, but eventually I'm learning the skills and I'm learning strategies that helps me up to now. But I'm thinking, like, for kids who are non-English speaker, I can feel their frustration. I can imagine their insecurities. I can imagine also, their feelings towards um, the subject, even the activity, just the thought of, reading and doing those tasks under this topic. Generally speaking, bringing this knowledge to the classroom truly supports the vital role of assessment to see the child at the beginning and the progress that the child is making throughout the school year. Honig, Diamond, and Got Lawn 2013 explained that because reading is so critical to success in and out of school, and because many students struggle with fluent reading, fluency should be assessed often. According to the authors, also, fluency assessment consists of listening to students
read aloud, and collecting information about their oral reading accuracy rate, and prosody. Also, they note that to measure students' progress and maximize teaching time, it is vital to assess reading fluency reliably, validity, and efficiently. Being in the field for almost a decade now, I see firsthand the effect of aligning data to our instruction. So I agree that assessment should be reliable, consistent scores no matter who is assessing. That they should be a good, meaningful source of data for making instructional decisions. Lastly, it should be efficient in administration, scoring, and interpretation. Knowledge-wise, I learned that fluency assessment should be done 3 times a year, in which it makes sense because at the beginning of the school year, as teacher, we have to know where the students lie on the level of skills. And in the middle of the school year, that is to know if the student is progressing or needing intervention. And at the end of the school year, it is to look at the readiness of the students to the next level of grade. This is something that I really that really gets my attention to the reading material this week, and also just reflecting to my practice at school. Furthermore, it is essential to know also what if the student is ELL or English language learner or has speech, because these are one of the factors that I know need to consider when assessing. For pre-K at my school, we use students' home language at the beginning of the school year to screen any kind of support or any kind of instructional tweaks or strategies that we may use, and even up to looking what interventions that we could put into the instruction. So yeah, yeah, and even just to kind of see where they are at general information wise, including their language and communication. Lastly, I get to get oriented with these known assessment tools. These are new to me. Something that I have to look in depth, the process, and just even to interpret. I know the book is something that I have to refer basically to these two measures, these two tools to assess reading fluency, which is the ORM, which means oral reading measure, and CBM, curriculum based measure. I quote, research shows that these two tools are compelling measures that let me add this. They are compelling measures used to assess reading fluency. Okay, it says it says that the ORM and CBM as measure of overall reading proficiency play a role in screening and progress monitoring, and it can be looked through the work of Dino, together with the other researchers, 1983, Martson and Markey in 1982, Foch, I'm not very sure, 1992, and the rest of the authors under that 2001. The beauty of assessment is that it provides teachers a baseline and guide throughout the learning time. I enjoyed reading the strategies from the book and watching it in action from the viewing. this is something I want to give myself. This is something that I want to give myself and refer to whenever I choose to work with special education after completing my master's. Watching those videos gave me a glance as to how it is carried out into action. All the strategies that I learned this week seem to be doable and practical, but I think it's a matter of knowing what the child needs and how they respond to it. Sometimes I've come to learn that even how good strategy is, if it doesn't really click or it doesn't match the student, um, sometimes it's not helpful. And I've found strategies that really, that students respond to it, and it does make a difference. According to again Honig, Diamond, and Golan, it is often assumed that if students can decode, they will become fluent. But according to Hudson, Lane, and Poland, struggling readers may not gain reading fluency incidentally or automatically. Often those skills were developed through direct instruction in how to read fluently. Research findings say that although silent independent reading may be a way to increase fluency and reading achievement, it should not be used in place of direct instruction in reading. With that being said, for now, I like to think of applying one of the strategies mentioned from the book, which is called integrated fluency instruction. For me, it stands out as it is known to have compelling or demonstrated compelling that can be easily integrated into existing reading programs. This can be found through the work of Rasinski and Hoffman 2006. Overall, the reading and viewing this week implies the significance of the teacher's intentionality in the classroom towards teaching profession. Knowing the elements on how to assess and align the instruction is something that educators should take seriously. Professionally, I build knowledge on the topic, my thoughts about students' delay just in general is that there's a missing, if a student misses a skill, if there's a missing skill that child needs to acquire, and if it is for reading fluency, it could be just like what the author states, that the common causes of this fluency include a deficit in phonemic awareness, decoding, vocabulary, language, syntax, and content knowledge. That for me is crucial to identify before a student suffers a lifelong label. That's it. And thank you, Prof, for this learning experience.